Good afternoon. Thanks for coming back to the channel. If anyone's tuning into this video, the idea is to talk about all the race cancellations that have been going on over the last week or so. I'm just going to wait for a few people to jump on. Yes, we have a viewer. Okay, hello. Thanks for coming back to the channel, everyone. And basically, the idea of this video is to just talk about race cancellations that are going on, obviously due to the ongoing coronavirus outbreak, and it's happening all over the world. I did go live about this the other night, but I just thought with it being the weekend, people might want to get on and talk about this kind of thing and really just talk about your stories about what's going on with your races and your running and, you know, what's happened. So I'm going to start off. I was doing the Manchester Marathon and I was due to do the London Landmarks Marathon, half marathon. And yeah, Manchester cancelled about a week ago, I think it was now. They just basically, without the government forcing them to do so, they said, look, you know, the right thing is to cancel, and they've cancelled and deferred. Hello, Chris. Yeah, so the Manchester Marathon's gone. What was then happening is some other races were hanging on a bit. We had, you know, London Marathon left it another week before they've confirmed that they're going to postpone. I think Manchester are postponing as well, sorry. And then London Landmarks half marathon were going ahead. I was doing that one as well. And then basically they've left it and tried to, you know, obviously go ahead with it. But basically they've now confirmed today they're not going ahead. So I think tomorrow, whatever races are going on tomorrow are probably going on, unless they've said otherwise. After this weekend, I reckon it's going to be tough to find a race for a while. So, yeah, what's been going on with you guys? Comment in the messages and just tell me what's happened with any of your races. Especially like if you're going abroad and stuff, and you know you've had it's awful really, but if you've lost money on flights and accommodation and stuff. But if they're also, you might have some great tips about how you've managed to overcome that. Have you got your money back off of travel providers? You know, maybe share some tips so other people can follow on that if that's happened for you. But yeah, I mean, I was looking at Southampton half marathon, which is another one I'm doing, and at the moment they're saying they're going ahead because the government haven't forced it at the moment, and a lot of these races I think are just preempting what the government are going to do, and they're cancelling now. Because I suppose if you cancel now, it gives people time to cancel other arrangements that they've made. Because if you hang on till the bitter end, you've left people with less time. But Southampton haven't cancelled as far as I know. So Chris is saying he thinks all races for the next 2 to 3 months will be cancelled or postponed. Yeah, I would agree with you, mate. I think we're in for a bit of a rough ride in terms of races. If you think about it, for example, when London Marathon cancelled and London Landmarks for a few days was sort of saying, well, we're still going ahead, it's difficult to really remain viable and also to keep it going, because if one race in one town cancels, or even in the next town across or close by, you know, I don't see how any other races can carry on. I just don't see how it's going to be possible to say, well, it's okay to run here. There's no risk of coronavirus here, but over here, you know, that it's safe and it's not safe and we're cancelling. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, and I just think all races will be following suit. I saw on Sky News, I was up in the night actually. I didn't sleep very well, but I was up in the night. It's about 2 a.m. and I saw from Sky News that the government are already talking about introducing emergency legislation which will effectively force all large sporting events to cancel. So if that kicks in, I don't know if it's going to kick in for next week, for next weekend, or whether it'll be after next weekend, but the indication is it's going to be before next weekend. So I think that we can kiss goodbye to most races going forward. But I don't really see any kind of problem with it. I get why it's happening. Obviously, this is a really serious virus. It's spreading fast. People are dying around the world. And I was looking at some comments on social media, and I saw that there's some people saying, well, flu flu kills thousands of people every day across the world, but nobody's panicking about flu. Whereas coronavirus has only killed, only, I say only, this is what other people have said, only 50 or only whatever. So why are we all so worried? And I was like, well, if you look at it from the perspective of, say I've been running 10 years and you've just started running last week. And I said, well, how many marathons have you run? And I'm like, oh, I've done 1,000 marathons. And you're like, oh, well, I've only done 2 or whatever. Well, obviously, because you've not been running as long as I have. And that's the same with this virus, isn't it? It's only killed a small amount of people in comparison to these other viruses because the other viruses have been around for so long. So I don't think you can draw direct comparisons between, death rates of different diseases and things, because you can't, unless you had the same amount of time to study these things. You can't draw that comparison. So anyone who's going down that vein, I wouldn't agree with. And I think we've got to take it seriously. It's spreading quick. People are dying. Countries on lockdown. We can't mess about with this. So to be honest, if we can't run marathons and half marathons for a few weeks, it's only a mild inconvenience. Universities have all been advised to stop sporting events so that all national championships for students have been cancelled. So like you say, Richard, I don't think it will be long before they're all gone. That's come from the Running Square. Oh, that's Connor. Hello, mate. I've deleted your message by accident. I'm so sorry. I don't really get this phone. Sorry. So, yeah, and Rival Nolan says, hi. Hello, mate. How are you? But, yeah. Oh, can I undelete it? I can't undelete it. Oh, no. I'm so sorry. You're going to have to post it again. I shouldn't use this phone. Manchester Marathon is cancelled. Liverpool half is still going ahead. That's from Geordie Boy 49. Hello, mate. So is Liverpool tomorrow? I think it's tomorrow. Let us know. Because I think I was saying before, some of you might have jumped on. I think that races this weekend might go ahead. I know that in Milton Keynes, the MK Festival of Running, where you've got a 10k, a half, and a 20 miler, they seem to be going ahead. Yes, Liverpool is tomorrow. Thank you, Geordie Boy. So, Liverpool's going ahead this week, whereas Manchester is obviously going to be after next weekend, which is when I think this enforced legislated ban is going to come in. So I think if you've got a race this weekend, you might be in luck. I was talking on text earlier today with Andy, the FOD runner. And what he said is he had some other races lined up which have cancelled. He's managed to book into the Gloucester 20 for tomorrow. And he's booked in last minute because he said, obviously I've done the training. He's targeted his taper towards a marathon, which is in a couple more weeks. So he hasn't totally tapered to target this weekend. But he said he's done a couple of weeks tapering. So he might as well just put the training to good use, smash out a 20 miler. It's the best he can do at short notice. And then at least he'll get a race and his training won't go to waste. And off he goes and he's done a race. So I think if you can get into a race this weekend, great. You might just about get your last race in. I was looking at the Milton Keynes Festival of Running and the half marathon. I think it said 28 quid or 26 quid if you're an affiliated club runner. And you can enter on the day. It's up to you. You might want to give it a whirl and see if you can do it. But yeah, I just think I'm also, who's this? Geordie Boy. I'm still going to run a marathon on the 6th. Yes, well, this is the other thing. I've seen a couple of the races. I think Liverpool are doing this for tomorrow. Even though they're going ahead, they're saying if you don't want to come to Liverpool because of the risk of coronavirus, that's fine. We're going to allow you to do this race virtually. And then you can, I suppose, submit your Strava trace or whatever, prove you've done the distance, and then they're going to post out the medal. It's very reminiscent of a few years ago when we had all that snow. Do you remember we had a really bad snow one March and loads of races got cancelled then? And the big half did that. They said, well, we're going ahead because the snow's not in London, but we get that the travel disruption because of the snow everywhere else is going to prevent people getting here. So we'll let you do the virtual option, which I thought was a really good call at the time. And yeah, that's one thing races could do. I suppose you've got to balance that off with, well, if people are going out and about running, are they putting themselves at risk of contracting a virus? I don't think the risk is so high if you're out on your own, so it's a good option. I don't know, a lot of races are talking about postponing to later in the year. Now, there's another issue with the postponing. I was just at Milton Keynes Park Run with Delroy, who's bunny pacer, and his wife, Michelle. And we are friends with some other people that we've done various races with. Now, I know that somebody was due to do Barcelona this weekend, and Barcelona have basically adjourned until October. So you think, great, he's going to get to do Barcelona in the autumn. Problem is, he's already booked in to Frankfurt in the autumn, and Barcelona now clashes with Frankfurt. So it's all well and good adjourning the races or postponing them, but you never know, do you? Because people have a full race calendar, and you know what it's like. You've got to book these races up, a year in advance sometimes, because they sell out or entries are only open till a certain date. So everyone's got a stacked calendar all through the year. So just moving races about, it's not... I mean, I get it. What else are they going to do? They've got to put it on at some point, but it's not going to solve it for everyone. Right, let's have a look at these comments. I've got a couple more coming in. Here we are running. That's Chris. I'm planning to continue with my training and run a solo marathon on the 5th of April, unless... Oh, it's fading away. Unless, of course, we are then all in lockdown in our homes. Yeah, that's a good shout. You know, I think you can still get out there and still run your marathon, but we don't know where we're going to be. Joe Milton running just on the way back from the English schools cross country in Liverpool. Oh, nice one. So you've got a race in this weekend, Joe. Excellent. Well, how did you do? Let us know how you did. What was it like up there? And what are people saying up there about all of this chaos that's going on? So... where was I? Yeah, adjourning and clashing. So yeah, Barcelona clashing with Frankfurt. You know, London. I'm sure London and Boston and Tokyo and all these, they're all going to talk to each other within the series of the World Marathon Majors. So I can't see the World Marathon Majors clashing, but they're not going to give us stuff about other races that are not in their series if they clash with them. So what? So Colin, who is the one who's had his Barcelona cancelled and it's going to clash with Frankfurt. So he's lost out on Barcelona, and then he's going to get to the autumn. He's got to pick. Is he just going to write off Barcelona completely now and carry on with Frankfurt, or is he going to lose Frankfurt to redeem Barcelona and still get that done? It's a bit of a dilemma, and it's not an easy choice to make. And what happens with the flights for Frankfurt if he chooses to do Barcelona? It's an absolute can of worms, isn't it? So... there's a lot to think about with all of this, and I know not everyone's flying around to different countries to do races, but if you are, you've got to consider all of this. Another kind of side effect of all of this, somebody posted this, I forget who it was, if it comes back to me I'll say, but they said, what an opportunity with Boston being adjourned until autumn. You are going to have Boston, New York and Chicago all happening within a 3-month period. And if you're the sort of person that, you know, you could be a young person who's a student and looking to travel anyway, and you've got the time and you don't have commitments like a family and a house and a job and all that stuff, well, why not utilise this to your advantage? You know, assuming all is clear by the autumn and we're all running again. Why not go to America and do the 3 marathon majors all in one go? If you can get into them through a charity spot or whatever, you've got options there. So that's another little thing, isn't it? Is the races might not clash. They might, the stars might align for you, and you can suddenly do all these mad races all in quick succession, where normally they'd be so far apart you'd have to pay to go twice. So that's something to think about and start looking at now and kind of planning for, because who knows, by then everything could be back up and running. So me personally, I've not, at the moment, I've not lost any international races with costly airfares and travel and things, but I do have a family holiday booked in the summer. Obviously, we don't know where we're going to be in the summer, but I've already discussed that with travel agents and things, and it looks like we'll be refunded if it's an enforced cancellation by governments and things, so that's good. And I've also got Chicago in the autumn, so I've paid for my flights to go there. Luckily for me, accommodation was going to be free because I have relatives that I can stay with close by. So I'm not going to lose out there, but I'm already thinking, oh, is these things going ahead? And a colleague at work has got a holiday booked next week to the US, and I've just heard the US are now closing their borders to UK flights. So people are going to lose out who aren't running as well. So there's a lot of travel disruption. There's a lot of problems with all of this. But again, I'll just reiterate, like, if it's going to stop the spread of a deadly virus and it's going to save lives, then I think it's worth it. What do you guys think? I hope no one's going to say anything too outrageous now, but what do you all think about it? And how are you going to plan? Like I've just mentioned, clashing of races, or maybe races are going to fall nicely. Have you got any plans that you've been thinking about doing, or how are you going to try and make the best of this situation? So leave some comments about that. So the next issue I want to talk about with all of this is parkrun. So we've got parkrun, obviously, in the UK. It went ahead, no problem this week, but parkrun's been cancelled many countries now. My running club, On the Run, unfortunately, we had quite a few from the club had planned this particular. Oh, sorry, I almost dropping my phone. This weekend, they all had it planned. They were going to Poland and they were going to go to Zamek-Malbork Parkrun, which is where I went last year in November, and they were going to do the Z Parkrun and tick that off. So initially, they got information to say they had plans to check out Gdansk as a city and a few of the museums and that whilst they were there. First of all, they got notification the museums are shut. So they said, oh, well, that's all right, no problem. We'll go and do parkrun and we'll just hit the bars and we'll make a party of it and have a good time. So fair enough, they could salvage something. Then, of course, it got announced Poland, as a country, parkrun's cancelled until further notice. And this is true of many countries. The USA, I think Denmark, was it Italy are definitely on there. Was there any more you remembered? No, but there's a list of countries on the parkrun website. Obviously, we've got, we might have enforced legislation by the end of the week to say no large sporting events. And I think, to be fair, parkrun is going to have to count as that, because, some towns you're going to get, say, 50 parkrunners, but others you're going to get over 1,000. And depending on where it is, you can't then pick and choose which parkruns go ahead, and how would you know how many runners you had until the end? So you can't really cater for it. I just think there's going to have to be a blanket parkrun ban in the UK as well. So this weekend might have been the last parkrun for a while, which we're all used to that, aren't we? That Saturday morning routine, getting up, going out, doing our parkrun, getting on with our day. That's all going to have to stop. And again, it's just going to have to happen because we need to try and stop the spread of this virus, and we need to kind of keep people alive and keep people safe. I spoke to my mum the other day because I was listening to Boris Johnson talk on telly and that, and he was saying that if you have a cough, a new cough, and it's a bit of a persistent cough, that is enough to self-isolate for 7 days. If you've got a high temperature, that is enough to self-isolate for 7 days. And it's one of those things. It's not both, it's one. You get one of those symptoms, you should be self-isolating for 7 days. If you don't have those symptoms, that's fine. You carry on. But if you get those, self-isolate for 7 days. You're not going to be tested. You're not going to be tested for coronavirus, but you just got to really basically self-isolate to protect yourself. So I rang my mum because I was like, Mum, do you know about this advice? Are you keeping yourself safe? And as I was speaking to her, she's coughing, and I was like, oh no. And she said to me, I've already been coughing for 2 days, so I've already self-isolated. So, it's happening. People, and my parents are in their, my mum's in her late 60s, my dad's in his 70s. So they're in that risk group. So I'm hoping, they are taking the advice, and I've certainly told them they should. I'm bossing them about now. That's how it works. But I'm just hoping that they can keep safe, and all elderly people can keep safe, because they are at risk. I'm glad they're keeping schools open, because if they close the schools, the first thing parents are going to do, well, I've got to go to work. Someone's going to have the kids. Where are they going to send the kids? Kids carry germs, and they're going to get sent to grandparents who are the highest risk. So you know, there's no easy answer there with the schools as well. But yeah, I just had another comment pop up. Nick Barnes, I agree this morning my park run had just under 300 people and usually it has 500. There you go. I mean, that's got to be some evidence that people are already choosing to withdraw from large gatherings rather than go and do their usual park run and follow their usual routine. That people are keeping away. I mean, that's obviously personal choice at the moment. Nobody's forced these events to stop, and if the events are going on, yeah, it's up to you whether you go or not. Only you can make that choice. But you know, I think it's just clear, isn't it? People are doing that now. So yeah, it's a bit of a rough time as a runner because you know we all say, don't we? We want our park run fix, we want our running fix. But I think we can still do it. You know, I remember because I've been running over 10 years now. And when I first started running wasn't as widespread and as popular as it is now. It wasn't like every weekend, half marathon, 10K. Like people seem to race a lot of weekends now. Whereas back in the day, you might have raced 4 times a year. Because one, there wasn't that many races anyway. There wasn't anywhere near as many as there are now. But two, you actually used to do a proper training block and build up to one event, and it was like your target event and that. But I think some people still do that, don't get me wrong, but a lot of that has gone out the window now. And most people run for the enjoyment of running a big event, and they love the socialising and the social media, and they love the medal and, you know, all that stuff. And I don't knock anyone who runs that way, because I like to run that way sometimes as well. But I think that we're going to miss out on that, aren't we? If that's our routine and that's what we're used to. It's a bit difficult to just suddenly adjust your routine, but you know that is what's got to happen, unfortunately. Okay, so I don't know if anyone else has got anything they want to chip in with before we kind of wrap this video up. But yeah, that's kind of my view on it. It's not great, but it's essential. Is it? Oh, is it? Some people are saying this is outrageous. I don't think it's outrageous. I don't think it's a mild annoyance, you know, and the world will continue. But yeah, what do you reckon, darling? You got any comments for the viewers? She's got a mouthful of crisps. She just looked at me like, why the hell would you ask me that right now? Oh well. Well, I have just posted a video that I recorded today at Milton Keynes Park Run, so check that one out after the live stream. Delroy Bunny Pace is in it as well, so we had a good crack out there today. And like I say, it might be the last one for a while, so we thought we'd make it a good one. Hang on a second. You what? Yeah. Oh, okay.
I was just going to say, like you were saying about obviously not so many people turning up. Like we went to the shopping centre, didn't we? And that's normally like.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Even that was quiet. Like,
yeah.
We drove past as if to say we'll see what the car park's like, and we were like, okay, we'll go in there.
Yeah, because we went to Primark because we were getting a load of clothes and stuff. And after we went there after park run, and yeah, normally the Milton Keynes Stadium, right? If you know it, if you live local, there's a Primark right next to it, and it's heaving on a Saturday there. So we were like, we'll drive past, we'll see if we can park. It was desolate. There was hardly anything there compared to normal. So we got into Primark all right, and got some Harry Potter stuff and all that. Right, I've got a few more comments coming in, so I'm going to keep this rolling because if you guys are still talking, I'll keep talking. Right.
You can talk for England.
How Yellow Brad, how about doing Comrades Marathon 100th anniversary next year? So is that for 2021? Is that going to be the 100th one? Don't tempt me. I'm getting a glare from over here.
No.
Who's this? Dash 71. Yes, there is no doubt in my mind Parkrun will be postponed for some months. Yep. It's got to, hasn't it? Like I was saying, it is a mass participation sporting event. Thousands upon thousands of people across the country every week, all coming into close proximity. It has to. Nick Barnes, events need to be cancelled for safety. I was supposed to be doing the London Landmarks half marathon. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Nick. They do need to be cancelled, and I too was going to do London Landmarks. It would have been my third time of doing it. obviously with them they got the medals, haven't they? So the medal is a landmark. So year one it was the London Eye, year two was St Paul's Cathedral, and I'm not sure what the medal was going to be this year, but I was looking forward to collecting, another medal with another landmark and getting a set there and all of that. I mean, and I'm sure we still can. I'm sure they're going to postpone until later in the year, but I mean, we were talking about race clashes and things. I mean, if they postponed until, say, the same weekend as Chicago Marathon, personally, I'm obviously going to go Chicago, aren't I? So, well, assuming I can and assuming the flights are there, but I would go Chicago. So, yeah, I could miss out, and I hope it doesn't affect you in the same way as well, Nick. I don't know what races you've got later in the year. Yellow Brad has said yes. Next year. Oh, right. So next year, Comrades next year, 2021. So that's going to be an up year, right? Because it's the odd year. So I did the up year in 2017. And if I go back, I really would like to do the down year because, as one South African guy said to me at the finish line as I was cheering, yeah, I've done it. I've smashed Comrades. And he goes, you've only done half the race, right? And I was like, what? What are you talking about? I've done it. And he's like, no, you got to do the down year. If you haven't done the down year, you've only done half of it. And I was like, no. So I toyed with going back the following year because you do get the bonus back-to-back medal if you do both years in consecutive years. I just couldn't afford it at the time because obviously it's a lot of money to put down to get to South Africa. It's a couple of thousand really, isn't it? So yeah, I couldn't do it 2 years on the bounce, but I am going to go back and do that down year at some point. I just don't know when. It'd be interesting as well because I don't know if any of you know who Bruce Fordyce is, but Bruce Fordyce is a former elite runner, and he's he's an older man now and he doesn't compete anymore. But he's going to do I think he's going to do that one because last time I spoke to him, he said he wanted to do the 100th, and his wife was saying to him, "No, you can't keep running because his knees and things. I think it is he's got problems, but he's going to do it. So that would be a good year to do it, to go and do it with Bruce." What have we got? Another comment. Robert Franklin, are you planning on doing any more pacing for races, virus dependent? Yes, I'm assuming that we can run the Leamington Spa half, which I think is that July? Yeah, look the date up, please, darling. Yeah, I think it's July. I'm going to be pacing at Leamington Spa. I think I'm doing 1:45, so 7th of July, there you go. So I think I'm doing 1:45 there.
Sorry, 5th of July.
Oh, 5th of July.
Sorry.
5th of July. Yes, doing 1:45. I'm going to have to kind of do a bit of training to kind of make sure I can pace that because at the moment I'll probably be flat out at about that pace. But I've got time to get some training in and get down to kind of the 1:35 area again. So I should be able to pace 1:45 no problem. Actually, whilst I'm just quickly, the Leamington Spa half had this really cool medal this year. It was an elephant. And at the running awards, they are nominated for the best medal. So if you get a chance to get on there and vote, please vote for the Leamington Spa half best medal because they'd love to win that because they're a decent little race and they do look after their runners there. It's a good event. But yeah, so that'll be my next pacing gig anyway. For the last 2 years, I've paced Manchester half and I wanted to do it again, but I can't this year because it's on the same weekend as Chicago. So there is going to be a 1:55 slot available. So if anyone fancies that, contact the race because they're obviously looking for a pacer now. So yeah, they might be able to hook you up. Dash 71, I believe Milton Keynes Festival of Running is still on tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, that was certainly the discussion that was going on today at Parkrun. I interviewed a lady. I won't spoil her story, but if you watch the Milton Keynes Parkrun video from today, you'll hear it. But basically, she is running that tomorrow, and that's why she was there. And she said, as far as she knew, it was going ahead. I've looked on the website, and yeah, as far as I know, it's going ahead there. And it says they're taking on the day entries. So if you really do fancy it, and it's your last chance at a race, you might as well go for it, even if you've got to drive a bit of a way. Obviously check with a race, check their website and stuff. I don't want to tell you to start trying to go there and then it cancels, but just check it out. It could be an option. And as I said, Andy FOD runner, he's gone for the Gloucester 20, and as far as I know, that's going ahead, so that there might be some options for tomorrow. I was already talking about going tomorrow, but it's sort of another 28 quid to put down on a race, and obviously if we're losing money on other races and stuff, I'm a bit like, oh, do I do it? Do I not? But I never, you never know. I might be there tomorrow because you know what I'm like. I just wing it on the spot. So I'm getting a glare. I'm getting, I'm getting another glare from over here. You love it, really, don't you?
No.
Oh dear. Right. Well. Oh, sorry. Go on.
No, it's right. It was just the one thing I was going to say is I've seen on quite a lot of like the London Landmarks chat and different race event chat, you know, comment section that a lot of people complaining about.
No, I'm putting the mic near you.
Right, I was like,
She don't want to go on camera.
a lot of people complaining about, you know, you can just as much catch the virus anywhere. I think people need to understand it. It's not necessarily about stopping the spread of the disease. It's also about the pressure that it puts on emergency services.
Yeah.
You know, for the amount of people that could have a heart attack or fall or injure themselves, and the extra strain that will put on the NHS.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be there. So as much of it being a part of stopping the spread of the disease, it's also about lessening the strain on our services.
Yeah.
That at the moment and in the near future are going to be pushed.
Yeah, and that is a really valid point. I mean, like I never really talk about my job much on here, but I do work for the emergency services, and yeah, it's going to be a lot of pressure. I mean, just generally anyway, I think across the country the emergency services are strapped, and they are. You know, just day to day, you know, the police call it the thin blue line. It gets thinner, you know, as time goes on, and then there's not enough officers, and there's too much crime and all of this. But at the same time, if you know, what happens in races, people sprain an ankle, people get really bad blisters, people can have cardiac arrest. There's lots of problems that can happen, and then that's ambulances dealing with people that have hurt themselves through running, and they're now not there to deal with the people that might need, you know, help with coronavirus.
You know, having to be at those events in case of that.
Yeah.
You know, most of the events now have to have ambulances on standby, etc., don't they? And
Yep. So ambulances that are just parked up at a race because they need that medical cover in place, and they're now not able to respond to, you know, cases of coronavirus that need help. Karma Yogi, I'm still trying to learn about the MK Marathon in May, but she thinks MK is still on tomorrow. So for those that aren't local to the area, Milton Keynes does have a load of races through the year. Tomorrow it's the MK Festival of Running. That's a 10k, a half marathon, and a 20 miler. In May you have the MK Marathon weekend. So you have the marathon, you have the half, and then they've got a new 10k which they were introducing this year. So I haven't heard from the May MK Marathon weekend that they're cancelling. I do know the race director, so I probably will ask him actually, but at the moment I don't know about that one. But it'd be a shame because, again, you know, they've got a bit more time and they could hang fire because you never know, things could improve. Yeah, Karma's saying MK half and 20 miles is on tomorrow. Okay, so there you go. There's a race for you all. If you want to go and do it, maybe have a last hurrah before we get banned out for a few months, then yeah, there you go. So is anyone else know of any other races that are going on tomorrow that people might want to go for? Thanks for the shout out, mate, from Karma. No problem, mate. Yeah, anyone who comments on it, I'm going to read your comments out. So keep commenting. Bath, you said you got Bath on.
Bath is half, so it's going ahead.
So the Bath half is going ahead tomorrow. Are they going to do on the day entries?
Don't know. I'll check.
So if you've got a place in Bath, it looks like that's going ahead. You might be all right there. Karma's saying, come on, guys, come over. So that's it. That's official. You're all invited now to Milton Keynes tomorrow.
Bath sold out.
Bath sold out. Okay. Well, if you've got a place, then you might be lucky and you're going ahead. So that's, and I've never done Bath actually, because I remember that used to be one of the Vitality series, if anyone remembers that. And I used to do a lot of those Vitality series races, but Bath was one I could never get to because I have to work one in so many weekends, and it would always clash with my working weekend, and I can't keep using holiday time to race because then I wouldn't actually have any time for holiday, and I get in trouble for that sort of behaviour. So, so yeah. Right, well, Stratford Half Marathon from CSKW. So that's on, is it? I think you're saying that that's on. So Stratford Half. Can you check if they've got on the day, please? It's a bit. Karma's saying it's a bit of a stretch, but Copenhagen is still on. Right, that's it.
Get a flight out.
So I think Denmark was one of the countries that locked the park runs cancelled out, but the Copenhagen half's still going. How are they figuring that one out? Mental. This is what I was saying. Like, it's mixed messages, isn't it? Because if you got like some things saying, yeah, let's crack on, let's go ahead, and others are saying, no, it's too dangerous, and yeah, nobody really knows where they stand in some places. It's odd.
Oh.
What's that?
I was looking for that thing, but I've just stumbled. I've obviously got it on the wrong page. Shakespeare Marathon and Half Marathon on the 26th of April has been cancelled.
Oh, okay. That's the Shakespeare Marathon and Half cancelled as well. That's in April, so that's another marathon. I honestly don't think we're going to get any marathons. I mean, I know that like some of the events are saying. I know Southampton is one of these for the half. They're saying although we have the feel of a big event. We're not a big event. We actually have less runners, and therefore we think it's safe to go ahead. But like I said, emergency legislation is going to come in this week. So by next weekend, I don't think any races are going to be going ahead. They're going to be forced. Karma's saying, not sure, haven't heard anything yet from the Copenhagen Marathon. But then she said, yes, that's on. So it's on. In Spain, you can't even go for a run outdoors, from Christopher Hawes. Wow. What, so they've just banned running? I didn't know this. So you can't even go out and train? You can't even train in Spain? I can't believe that. So, oh crap, Shakespeare was a backup for a lot of London marathoners from Karma. Yeah. It's cancelled. I think they all know that they've said on Sky News this morning, you know, that the government are already writing this emergency legislation. So obviously they've got to do the admin and get it all rubber stamped by the Queen and all that jazz. But they can do that in like a week. So I think that all the races that are saying, well, the government haven't enforced us to cancel, so we're going to go ahead. I think they are grasping at straws now. I think they are just basically going to have to dig it all off because they'll be forced to in a week. And like I said earlier in the video, if they don't do it now, if they said now we're cancelling, that would allow you to cancel your Airbnb, cancel your hotel, cancel your Uber, whatever it is you've got to cancel. You could cancel it and hopefully reclaw some money back. But if they just hang on until the last minute, that's, you know what it's like. Sometimes up to 24 hours before you can cancel, but once you cross over a certain threshold, you're getting no refund. What are you laughing at?
I'm coughing in the background. Everyone's going to start panicking.
Yeah, well, oh yeah, she's got no.
Stop it! I was
Right.
chewing on a crumb of a crisp. It's fine. Stafford takes on the day entries.
Stafford's taking on the day entries, and that's tomorrow.
Yeah.
And they're on. Right, Stafford.
Yeah, they're on.
Where's Stafford?
I don't know.
What part of the country? I don't even know where Stafford is. I know of Stamford and Stratford, but not Stafford. Oh, Staffordshire. So it's going to be like West Mids area, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Entries on the day will cost £37, £35 for an affiliated.
35 quid on the day if you're a running club member. Turn up and do the Stafford. Is it a marathon or a half?
Half.
A half. Okay, Stafford half.
Got to be there by 8.
8 o'clock. You've got to be there by 8 o'clock. Right. Christopher Hawes. I was messaged by a guy in Valencia saying he couldn't even run outdoors. That's crazy. So, yeah, because we're going to Spain on our summer holiday. And the first thing I do whenever we go on holiday is I go, right, where's the nearest park run? And they don't do park run in Spain. So I said to her,
Why do you think we're going to Spain?
there's no park run. She goes, I know there isn't. Because she doesn't want me running off and doing park run. So then I was like, well, it's all right. There's got to be a half marathon. Apparently in July it's too hot there. All of their races are in the autumn or the spring, aren't they? So there's no races. So basically, I've already hunted down a local running club, and they go out on like a Thursday night or something. And I've texted the guy, and I was going to go out with them for a run. So I can't even do that now in Spain. Right, we've got some more comments coming in. Karma is saying, Chris from Here We Are Running was doing Manchester. I was hoping to meet him as we were both trying to get under 4. Chris has then said, another time, Karma. Oh, no. That's really sad because Chris is awesome and you would have had a great run with Chris. I ran Gatwick half with Chris and we had a right good time and we were like chatting away and, you know, putting the world to rights and all that as we went round. He's a top bloke. But yeah, another time. This is it. We all live to run another day, don't we? So if we're just sensible with this, I mean, partly, like, I know we're talking about what races you can do tomorrow. It's up to you. It's your personal choice whether you go to these things or not. Some people may decide, well, they don't want to go to a crowded area because they don't want to risk contracting any coronavirus, and that would be, you know, absolutely perfect and normal and sensible decision to make. But equally, you might take the view that that's a bit too risk averse. You know, it's not that bad here yet, and maybe just do this one last thing. You know, I went park run today, and I don't, you know, think anybody was coughing on me or anything like that. You know, I didn't see anyone who looked ill. So, yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be all right outdoors, but I don't think much beyond. I don't know the exact stats, but I was hearing on the news that like there's a curve of infection basically that China went through, and then Italy are going through it, and it's a similar curve of infection. So they can kind of plot where we are on that curve of infection, and we're about 4 weeks behind Italy and things like that. So it is going to get worse here before it gets better. We all know that. But yes, it's your personal choice. If you're going to run tomorrow, you know, it's up to you really. So we're looking at Bath, Milton Keynes, and Stafford, and Gloucester. They're the sort of confirmed races that we think are going ahead tomorrow.
Gloucester.
Sorry? Oh, Gloucester 20. Yeah, it's a 20 miler. Because yes, Andy FOD runner was going to do it. Was going to do. I forget which half he was doing. Probably was the Forest of Dean Marathon or something he was doing. But yeah, he's gone for Gloucester short notice because he's obviously going to lose all of his other races, and that's what he was saying today. So I know that right now there's a crew of people from Milton Keynes who are in Pathos because tomorrow was supposed to be the Logicom Cyprus Marathon in Pathos, and marathon and half marathon. That's a race I did last year. And a lot of the same people I went with, they go back year on year on year. Well, they've all gone. They're there. And there's a running track there, which they know about. And they've just gone out and they've done some track sessions. And then they're obviously like having a few drinks. And they're still enjoying their holiday and having a good time. And obviously, yeah, they can't do the race that they plan to do. But they're making the best of it anyway, which, you know, it's probably not a bad attitude to have, is it? Right, so is there any more chat from you guys? What else do you want to say about all of this? Is there any more banter or races you want to talk about? Anything like that? And I think as well, we got I was looking at Paul Adicott, who you might know as Pick Up the Pace Paul, and he paces at a lot of marathons and stuff. And he does jet set a lot around, and I know that he's lost Tokyo, he's lost Rome, and he's lost Limassol in Cyprus, because Limassol I think is next week and they've cancelled. So that's a lot of money to lose, and I do feel sorry for him because as much as you know we say, oh, it's a mild inconvenience to lose these races, but when you've put down a lot of cash on these things and you end up not getting the experience you wanted, that has got to hurt. And I do really feel for anyone who's in that position, because that's, you know, not everyone can just afford to blow a load of money and then see nothing for it, you know, and that's not good. Was that another comment? Oh, so Karma's saying, check out the Gade Valley 20 miles training run next week. Not sure, but might be still on. I think yeah, because I think there's a couple of training runs that go on as well around my area where they're sort of like organised training runs, 20 milers and that, and you pay a few quid to do them, and that goes to somebody's marathon charity. But obviously, with no marathons coming up, I don't know whether these training runs are still going to be viable or whether they'll even be on. Some people might just, want to crack on anyway. So just check the local pages and see what's going on with those. Wow. So I can't believe that. I've been chatting 45 minutes. But wow, it's flown by. Well, I think I'm going to have to wrap this up now. What time is it?
10 to 6.
10 to 6, yeah, because we've got to get some food sorted out and we're going to sit and watch Saturday Night Takeaway tonight. So and that's the other thing. Saturday Night Takeaway. Everyone's trying to win a place on the plane, aren't they? There's not going to be a plane. Ant and Dec are gonna be livid. Can't have this.
The plane's just going to be sitting in Heathrow.
Somebody's sorry, I got another comment. Oh, hello. Dash 71, you do multiple distances races, but is there a time on any of these distances you would love to achieve? Well, yes, there is. I would like to achieve a sub 3 hour marathon. That was a big goal of mine for quite a while. When was that? Like 2014, 2015? I really wanted to get sub 3. I trained hard, I ate right, I slept right, I foam rolled, I did everything I think I could have possibly done. And I ran a 1 hour 20 half marathon in the build-up, which is still my personal best. And I thought, 1 hour 20, that's it, I'm on for this, 3 hours. And then I ended up running 3:03:57, so I missed out. And when you spread that 3 minutes 57 seconds out over 26 miles, it's something like 10 seconds a mile. And I was like, that's not a lot, I wasn't far off. So I was thoroughly gutted on the one hand because I didn't get the 3 hours, but I was also massively pleased because it was a huge personal best, and it still is my personal best. But I'm not in that shape anymore. Yeah. I mean, it is. Anything close to 3 hours is brilliant. Yeah, 3:03. Ouch. Yeah, it was ouch. Thanks for that, Dash. Thanks for reminding me. No, but it was ouch. But I remember you. What did you shout at me as I was running down? Do you remember what you shouted at me? It was a bit rude, but it was along the lines of
It was encouragement.
Yeah, it was.
It was swearing at you on the side of the street.
It was encouragement, but it was along the lines of, if you go under 3 hours, you will be rewarded. Let's just put it that way.
I did not say that.
She did.
I did not.
Shouted it on Birdcage Walk. She did. She don't remember. She's blanked it out.
I think it was somebody else. I think you were listening to somebody else's wife.
Well, it sounded like you.
It wasn't me.
Are you sure about
that? Positive.
But anyway, I missed out on the 3 hours, so I was gutted, and I'd love to do that. And at the minute, so I remember I used to be about, was I 68 kilos? I think I was 68 kilos at the time. I'm probably like closer to 78 at the minute. So I would have to do a lot of training, a lot of eating right, and all of that to get back to that level. And at the moment, it's not viable for me. But yeah, one day we'll see. One day I might get there.
I don't know. I'm a bit old now, Rich.
I'm getting a bit old. Look, can you see this? I have to put up with this. Right, where are we? Comments. Wow, they're flying in again. Chris from Here We Are Running has said also we should feel for the event organisers and hope it won't be the case, but I imagine some will really suffer financially from this. That's a very good point, because I've seen this before. There was a I forget which race it was, but
it was fairly,
they couldn't put the race on, and everyone's demanding refunds. But the problem is, so like we obviously give the race whatever the entry fee is, say 40 quid. We give them 40 quid. And out of that 40 quid, let's say 2 quid goes to toilets and 2 quid goes to road closures and bibs and timing chips and, whatever else, all the other stuff, drinks, everything you see. So they have to obviously spend that money out in advance to book all these things, to put this event on. So by the time you get to like now, say the race is next week, they've spent that money, a lot of it. what they're left with is a profit margin, obviously, which is what they would take home, and in some cases that money goes to charity. Sometimes it's a profit for a company or whatever, but that profit that they've got sat there tucked away, if they have to fully refund everybody, well, there's not enough now, is there? Because they've spent it all. So they then I've seen one, like, they said, well, we can only afford to give, I think it was something stupid like a £2.32 refund per runner, and that would be all of our profit. So that would mean we'd have no money sat in the bank to then put the event on next year, because we need to start booking, all these other things that we need again, and we have to have a kitty to get that ball rolling. So it can actually ruin an event. But I think I saw on the news the government said something about they would compensate anything that would lose out as a result of this. And if that's the case, that would be superb, because the government could at least compensate, like, say, the London Landmarks Half, for example. They might get some seed money from the government to set the thing up next year, to get it off the ground, and then, of course, people will start entering, and they'll take the entry fees, and they'll get back. So it might just need, a little bit of seed money for each race from the government or something, and that would be really helpful, because ultimately the government are writing some legislation that's going to prevent people from earning their money just the way they would earn it, aren't they? So, yeah, it's a very good point, Chris. Very good point indeed. Perfect Society has said colloidal silver effectively kills SARS coronavirus, so all these measures are criminal and treasonous, and most likely part of the population reduction plan. Right, well, that's absolute tosh, so scrolling on. Hope the insurance companies take the hit and not the race organisers. That's from Karma, yeah. And, either the insurance companies or the government, as I said. Dan said, rewarded, so you slowed down. Mate, I didn't choose to slow down. If I could have, I would have done it, wouldn't I? But I was broken, and I was suffering at the end. You know how we do. And even on a promise, I couldn't muster the energy.
There was no promise. Can we just get this clear?
There was a promise. Ow! Right. Karma said, my mate audits London Marathon finances. They are bloody rich. Well, I think you're right there, probably. London might be the exception to the rule, but I know an event like Southampton Half Marathon is a smaller event. Like Hampton Court Half Marathon was a very good marathon, but it's not on the grand scale of these bigger ones. So you just see things like the timing chips, for example. When you see a race where they've got that disposable chip stuck to the back of the bib and they don't want the chip back at the end of the race, you see those types of chips are probably going to cost more than the ones you give back, because of course the ones you give back can be reused and so on. So there's certain little tells within a race that you can see that it's not such a big budget race. And then obviously the ones that get tens of thousands of runners, they got a huge income, millions of pounds of income from our entries fees. But when you're looking at like a few thousand, then it's not millions. It might be hundreds of thousands of pounds is their income, and they've got less to play with. So it's the smaller events that can be absolutely devastated by missing a year or something going wrong. And normally it might be just one event and some random anomaly happens and it has to cancel, but we're talking massive here. It's obviously every event. So yeah, I really hope the small events aren't going to suffer. Hopefully you guys can go to Spain safely and have a good time from Perfect Society. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for that. It'd be really nice if we could. We've still got our fingers crossed on that one, and we are hoping that obviously all of this is by summer it potentially could have calmed down. Colloidal silver is proven particularly effective in cases of intestinal troubles. Okay, well, I don't hold any medical qualifications here, so I can't really say whether that's true or not. Yeah, we've covered the auditing of London Marathon. Karma said, I would never ask... Oh, that light's come on a timer. Sorry, I'll just change the angle. Sorry, Karma was saying, I would never ask for a refund on any other run organiser unless it's London Marathon. Yeah, and I was going to say London Landmarks, for example, is completely organised by Tommy's, the charity. Um, they raise a good amount of money off it, but loads of other charities also raise a load of money off it because, of course, they all get a gold bond place and all this stuff, and people run for different charities. So yeah, charities are going to potentially lose out as well, which is another issue. And it's not good because I know charities. I mean, the London Marathon. So 2012, when I ran the London Marathon for a small charity called Victor, which stands for Visually Impaired Children Taking Action. At the time, I was chatting. I actually visited their offices because they were only in Milton Keynes, locally to me, and I wanted to find out more about the charity and find out, what it is they do and how they could benefit their people they give the money to. So I wanted to be able to tell people where their money was going and stuff. So anyway, I went there and they were saying that 90%, I think it was, of their annual income comes from the London Marathon. And if it wasn't for the London Marathon, they would not exist as a charity because they just simply don't get enough in donations and things from other sources because they're a small charity, they're not that well known. They're not like Cancer Research UK or Macmillan Cancer Nurses where everybody knows those names and they raise money from all kinds of different sources. The smaller charities could suffer by the London Marathon not going on this year. And I'm sure no one's going to, say, oh, you said you were going to run the London Marathon. Well, you're not running it now, so I want my donation back. I'm sure no one's going to say that. But, yeah, this could have a big effect. Okay, so Perfect Society. Dr. Henry Crooks found that silver in the colloid state is highly germicidal. Yeah, so again, I can't really say either way about that, unfortunately. I'm not qualified to give medical advice, so I think anyone wants to know more about that would have to consult a medical professional. Raymond Moore, hi mate, how serious is the situation regarding coronavirus in the UK right now? It's hard to trust the media sometimes. Yeah, I mean, the media, I think, generally, it's hard to say what they're doing, isn't it? Yes, they want a story and they obviously sometimes will sensationalise things a little bit to make it a bigger and a better story. But I think with this, they've got to be pretty straight shooters with it because this is people's lives and people's safety and you can't be messing around with that kind of thing. You were looking at you saw a thing about how many deaths we've read. Is it about?
So we were at 11 deaths yesterday and we've jumped to 21 today.
Yeah,
so we've gone from 11 over the past couple of weeks to 10 in a day.
Yeah.
But I think I think the numbers that are coming out are genuine numbers, and we are getting numbers per each day, aren't we?
Yeah.
But I think that following the same as China and Italy and the other countries, we are following a pattern.
Yeah.
There is going to be some sharp rises soon.
So since coronavirus began until yesterday, we had 11 deaths, and then if that's right, and we've gone up to 21 deaths, effectively that's doubled in a day. So it is on the increase here. I mean, we live in Buckinghamshire, and we have a couple of hospitals. Stoke Mandeville Hospital have confirmed cases of coronavirus in the hospital. They're isolating wards and things. High Wycombe General Hospital has confirmed a death from coronavirus today. They confirmed that. And it is an issue here. It is sort of starting. And I don't know if you were on earlier when I was saying this, but the media was saying about the curve of the infection in China, and then they can see that same curve occurring in Italy. And we're further back on the curve, but they predict we'll go up this same curve, and the amount of infection will just go up and up over the next weeks and months. So, yeah, it's not good in the UK, but obviously at the minute we're not as bad as other places. But I think overall it's all just gonna, eventually it's gonna be everywhere, isn't it? It sounds like we're not going to stop it. I think the tactics of the UK at the moment is they're saying delay. They know they can't prevent this infection taking hold widespread, but they're giving all this self-isolation advice, hand washing advice, because they want to delay that from happening. Because if it happens later, it'd be warmer here, because the weather gets warmer towards the summer, and it gives the emergency services more time to prepare all the resources that they need to deal with it. So even if we can buy them a few weeks, then that few weeks might be the difference between having what they need and not having it. So we're in a delay phase. But there's lots of coronavirus related humour out there on the internet, which we've seen, and people are able to make light of the situation, which is a classic British thing to do. You try not to take anything too seriously and just roll with it, really. But as much as you can see humour in any situation, of course, but I think there are people dying, so it's not really that funny. And I suppose if you're making light of it as a bit of a coping mechanism, that's fine. But you've got to, in the back of your mind, understand that, this is serious in the UK. It's serious everywhere, and we can't mess around. So, okay, well, I'm going to wrap this video up because we've been on an hour. Thanks so much for watching. I'll get like a little stat in the corner of how many people are watching at any one time. And there's been a good amount of you on through this whole video. So thank you so much for tuning in and staying with me, and also for contributing and chipping in, because these live streams don't really work unless you guys talk back, because otherwise it's just me talking about the things I might have bullet pointed to talk about, and that quickly dries up. And, so it's good that you've engaged. So thank you so much for joining in. And I'm going to try and do some more live streams. I did used to do quite a lot when I had a different shift pattern. It was a bit more viable for me, but now it's not so easy. But I will try to keep it going a bit more regular. Karma's just said, I saw something on the lines of sex with runners will immune you from coronavirus. Yeah. Did you hear that, darling?
I'll take my chances with the virus.
And on that note, if you like the video, please do give it a thumbs up. Yep, stay safe as well, Chris. Stay safe, everyone. And please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification so you're notified whenever I go live like this or I post a video. And thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Oh, and the Milton Keynes parkrun video is up now, so if you want to check that out next, then please do. Right, see you later. Have a good one.